So Freddie, I wanted to start by asking you about this foundation that you created called Love No Ego. What can you tell us about it? What is it?
Love No Ego Foundation, nonprofit, not-for-profit organization, 501c3, helping youth ages 10 to 18 just live more from their natural human intuitive space while being aware of the egotistical and societal pressures that come in and provoke that fear and overly self-centeredness and separation and
overly self-centeredness.
Yeah.
Say more about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we're selfish, self-centered by design and default. Like, you cannot not think of yourself. It's more so our message goes, think of yourself less, not think less of yourself. So quantity versus like quantity and number of times versus the quality that you know, I can think of myself less times without thinking less of who I am as a person. So overly self-centeredness. That's why we say overly.
But it also seems like the quality of my thoughts regarding myself makes a big difference too.
Yeah.
Those can take a lot of different forms. Yeah. Like I can think of myself on a level of practicality simply because I control this being and I don't control another being. So it's very practical to think about myself in that regard. But to think about myself in comparison with someone else or to be self-conscious about how I'm created, always worrying, judgmental about myself, that's quite different, right?
It is. You know, it's quality. And you can even throw the quantity back in it. Like, you know, sometimes we might have a thought of that caliber, but what happens when you have a lot of thoughts of that caliber? You know, you kind of letting yourself down. So circling back, overly self-centeredness and fear. We have a mentoring program, weekly one-on-one in-depth collaborations, mentoring sessions, where we take them through our curriculum that we created. That involves a lot of nature. Nature helps to hone in on that message of love and gets to reality. It gets our youth clients, to help to see themselves and develop an understanding of where they came from. Even if we don't have the exact answer, you can trust reality.
You can trust reality.
Yeah, reality doesn't need us to cooperate. It doesn't need us to exist. It's already real. It's already reality. We're fortunate and grateful to be of that, universe, you know. So we want them to see that and feel that and experience that. And that's love. That's love. So before you take it and attach it to things of the world that we created, by the way, you know, the things, and before you take it and attach it to something outside of yourself, like, recognize it's here. It's there. So we do that through the mentoring program. We also do motivational speaking. We go into schools, residential treatment facilities, wherever the kids are. And they pretty much accept us there. They accept the message, you know, welcome us there. So we go into their environment and we try to boost the morale of their environment. Get everyone on this love, no ego message. Hold each other accountable. Do good, be good. Just want them to see that this is how you maximize the human experience. It's through love, right? And that's what we all want. We all want the best out of life. We all want to squeeze that lemon and get the most juice that we can get out of it, you know? So how do you maximize it? It has to be through love. Don't you think? Like, you know, it has to be.
Love and acceptance.
Yes, and love embodies like so much acceptance, so many things, acceptance, integrity, ethics. It's bold, it's courageous, it's humble, it's full of humility, you can trust it. It's a knowing that's connected to love. And even in that knowing, or perhaps potentially doubtful knowing, if that makes sense, you still have the energy and the capacity to trust it and watch. Let's see what happens. And that makes you more responsive and controls your faculties a lot better in how you respond to challenges versus reacting. So that's the love, no ego message in a nutshell, if you want to say.
Yeah. You mentioned children being, like, there's a focus on youth, right? And that they might be more open to this message than adults. Do you find that to be the case?
For me, I think for me, I feel like it's pretty even. Give or take couple percents, here and there. But I'm more into, and I want to say we are more into sharing the message, meeting people where they are. And with that, and the way that we go about it, it's very inclusive. It's not pressuring. I think all human beings can relate to it for the simple fact that we are human. So despite the age, despite demographic, there may be some experience in programming that's happened before that kind of maybe adds some additional walls to go through. But people know, like when I pulled up here this morning, the guy you were talking to, he waved at me. Then he did a double take because he saw the message on the van, yeah. And he's looking. And I could see and feel the knowing happening then, the curiosity happening then. And he drove past me, he even stopped, and he was looking. I thought he was going to maybe come speak or something, but that's it, and that's all it takes. It takes, not all it takes, but it takes that's an important step in initiating the space to get back into being human, to being in this moment, in the now, and taking that spirit and allowing it to do what it naturally does. It extends. That's what love does. Like it exudes outward, and every soul walking the earth can relate to it.
Yeah. I've been thinking about the root structure of trees lately. Like, I could say one of the big moments in my life actually was coming to realize that I believed that energy is very real and extends beyond the outer layers of my skin. I talk about this quite often, but it was a big moment because once I really believed that and realized that I believed that, it changed my relationship with my own energy. Because whatever's going on inside here, it's not just impacting me, it's getting sent out. And so that gave me more responsibility and more of a reason to really monitor my energy. So I've been thinking about more recently that I think there is a root structure that happens in kind of invisibly, but we all feel it, right? Like the energy of an environment of a place. You walk into a new place, you feel something there, so something must be transmitted between all of us.
Yeah, I love that.
What do you think is the obstruction? The main or a couple main obstructions between oneself connecting with this love?
I could say resistance and stubbornness and things of that sort, but there's the experiences of each person is very unique. So there might be some added layers, less layers, more layers that need to sort of come down. Surrendering is a great word. But we have to understand, too, that society and the way that we came up, might have enabled us to allow words to have a different meaning. Like
words to have a different meaning.
Yeah, like the word surrender. If I watched a bunch of war movies or things like that, it's like, okay, surrender is give up. It's not necessarily giving up. It's more so allowing. You are allowing to, yourself to let go of things that do not serve, that why would I want to spend so much time resisting this, resisting that, fighting that?
Fighting reality, as you talked about before.
Yeah, right? Like why would I want to do that? Like I want to, again, maximize this human experience. That's a goal. So I want to enjoy this day. It doesn't make sense for me to go day to day, to day, to month, to year, to years, resisting the same thing, same problem, the same conflict. We talk about history repeating itself, and we have a issue. We have an issue of not learning a lesson. I
was just thinking about that.
The same conflict comes back because why? We haven't learned the lesson.
So do you believe that life is trying to teach us?
All the time.
And there's resistance to the lesson that's being, it's like, okay, I'm going to, as long as you keep resisting, I'm going to keep bringing up this lesson again and again until you get it.
You can't change reality. You just can't. It is. It just is. And it's a beautiful thing. It can be somewhat of a scary thing, but the more practice that you, just initiate, the more desire that you have for truth creates the space for you to be okay, grow, okay, and grow. I'm okay, and grow until you reach this space of wow, I'm really I'm on 10 every day, naturally. I'm on 10 naturally. And it's not look at me, I'm on 10. Yeah. It's more wow.
This is happening.
Wow, man, life, it's beautiful. I'm grateful that I get to do it. So you reach that space, and wherever you go, you just add. You just add to the spaces that you go, the relationships that you have. You just add. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Life is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If it's not beautiful, we have to look at what we've made of it. What's been given to you, life. Serious? That's beautiful. You get to be here. A brand new day every single day. Love, God, trees, whatever, sun, moon, star says, boom. Here's a brand new day. One you've never seen, you'll never see again. Go play on the playground. Go play. And go play. We wake up and we're still mad with something that happened 362 days ago and then 720 days ago. And you bringing it into this brand new, beautiful day. Yeah. When you have an opportunity to surrender to the bull.
and to not take myself too seriously, because I think that's the obstruction for playing.
Yeah.
I can't play if I'm just taking, okay, what am I holding on to from the past and these labels of myself? Clinging to that, now I can't play.
You can't play.
I'm not free.
You can't. You know, I made a video this morning on my TikTok, and I was just thinking, I came down early. I stopped in Scottsville. I went to Torter Creek, and I sat back there on the rocks and the dam that pours off, and, you know, saw the partial sunrise and things. And I'm sitting there, and the message just kind of, you know, came to me, and I'm like, what would you do if you were in this moment? You're about to transition, you're about to die, death that we know of, leaving this earth. And you had one word that you could say. One word, your last word that you could say. What would it be? You know? And I paused and I said, my word would be like love. It has to be, because it's that'll transcend all the meanings that to help everybody understand, like love. I love my people. I love these humans. I love life. I'm grateful. It's the greatest energy. It's everything we're designed to do and be here on this earth. One word, what would it be? And I said, it has to be love. Now, coming full circle, if that was your last word, there would be a lot of things that we are caring about today that you wouldn't even care to think about on that day. So that's a message in itself. Like, if it's that important at that particular time, it's important at this particular time.
Well, you talked about reality. What did you say about reality before? About reality is somehow it's helpful to us.
It teaches us.
It teaches
it's helpful.
So the reality is that the next moment is not owed to me, to us, right? The reality is that moment that you're talking about, death, can come right now. You know, asteroid can come, hit this planet, whatever. A lot of things can happen, right?
Yeah,
that's reality. And you mentioned resistance to reality, right? There's something about the human experience, at least a popular way to experience it, to run away from that reality of death. But it seems that death can be a very useful tool to instead be afraid of it, to look at it, to utilize it towards living more fully, squeezing the juice. Like you talk about maximizing experience. In order to maximize experience, there has to be this relationship with death.
You have to, accept we talk about resistance and acceptance, and you have to, I think it's important to accept the inevitable. You have to accept life's inevitables. I don't want to spend my life resisting something that I can't change. Right? That makes a lot of sense, right? Okay, so with that, if I'm scared out of my mind right now, if I can just find some space to create seconds, minutes, hours of practice if I'm afraid of, like say, for example, years ago, 5, 6, 7, maybe close to 10, I was really starting to be afraid of losing my parents. I started to see it because a lot of my friends, lost their parents, and I'm like, this is a part of life, and it will wake me up sometimes. I would dream about it, and for me, that says if I listen and I don't react so much and kind of just let me set with this. Let me be still in this. And in that stillness, I get messages. I get messages in my stillness. It says, if you are afraid, like, go towards the fear. What can you do to combat the fear? So, I started calling my parents more. I put it in my weekly routine. I'm going to see them once a week. I drive down, hang out, change light bulbs. I do all kinds of stuff, whatever they want me to do, I get firewood, I put it on the porch, whatever, I run errands and just be with them. And we started having more experiences, and we're laughing and we're joking, we're arguing, we're doing a bunch of stuff. We're just doing it. That gives me a sense of comfort now that I'm plugging up that hole of fear with like active participation of love, and I'm participating versus just sitting back and being afraid and being scared.
Yeah. So when fear pops up now for you, do you become interested in looking at it, investigating it more closely?
Yeah, I do. That's the way, that's the way to heal, to, I say this a lot, maximize the experience, human experience. That's just the way. And again, it's reality. Why would I can't waste years being afraid of this one thing that's actually going to happen anyway, And so in that active participation in it, I find a lot of gratitude. I find a lot of gratitude. I call my parents, I laugh with them. We do Snapchat videos together, like, my dad's 75, my mom's 73, and they don't know what Snapchat is, of course, but, I turn it on my phone, and it changes your whole face, and I'm showing my dad himself. He's like, who's that? I'm like, that's you. He's like, no, that's not me. That's not me. And he's talking, that's not me. Wait a minute. He's like, oh. But the fun, and then being with them, and the dinners and the stories, and you have to soak it all up as much as you can, and let love do what it does,
Do you feel that, gratitude, in a way, being genuinely appreciative of this experience that we're having, is a maturation? Like there's a maturation, there's a process happening.
I think it's a natural, giving is such a natural rooted mission embedded in us when we are created, when we're conceived, because we're designed to help, to give. We're actually, we're one. We're one. And that's why when you truly give, like when you give to your time, your energy, something that's going to like really ignite this other person, you're like, they're going to love this. Like, I love, and you give them whatever, you spend time with them, whatever it might be. There's no other feeling like that.
No other feeling like that.
There's no other feeling like that.
Yeah.
I could give you $1,000 or whatever. I could give you something of the world, give you a brand new car, whatever. I don't know. And, a year later, that car is going to, whatever, it's something else you want now, right? But maybe the way that I gave you the car, or maybe the time that I spent with you, like, that never wears off. That never, it's like, man, you remember that day when you came up and we took that hike and we had that tea and then you had that car waiting back for me. Man, that was beautiful and it was great. But there's nothing to replace that feeling of giving. Like, yeah. Without, you don't, there's no return. You don't think in those ways, and you're not expecting,
just the giving, just the giving. It's in our nature. It's rooted. It is the reality of the makeup.
Yeah.
I think that.
Don't you feel like super grateful if you help someone change a tire on the side of the road, or and you just go on about your day, and you're like, man, you know.
Anytime. A big moment I had was I realized that I was on this track of wanting to be totally self-sufficient. You know, as ridiculous as that sounds, right? Like, I didn't like to ask people for help, you know, at all. I would try to avoid that. Then it occurred to me, how do you feel when someone asks you for help? I was like, and you're able to help them. I feel great.
Yeah.
So not asking for help, I'm depriving others of that experience that they're having, which was like, whoa, okay, which opened me up to being able to ask for help. But
it's a great point. Yeah.
I think, again, it has everything to do with reality and trusting in nature itself, right? There seems to be a good amount of doubt and fear around what the human being is, right? Like, if we go back to our roots, our true nature, that we're going to be terrified, that we're going to be like, you know, like just totally violent and, you know, not inclusive with each other. And I think that that's totally wrong, actually. If we go back to our roots, we'll see, you know, like Swami Satchidananda, he talks about the apple tree. And he says, you know, the tree, it doesn't care if someone throws stones at it. It's going to give the apple the same to that person as the person who waters it, right? Like, the purpose of the tree, the apple tree, is just to give fruit. And I think we are like that too. That's the same exact point. Like, our purpose, like very deep down, is to serve. There's all this, you know, it's this talk about purpose, finding purpose. And the purpose can take a lot of different shapes and forms, right? Those apples can be of lots of different varieties, right? And the different fruits or whatever. But underneath it all, I believe, is that giving, that experience of giving that we're all interested in having, even if it ends at like, I'm just focused on giving to my family, right? Or my community. Okay. There's still a giving there.
Yeah. You know, giving is the absolute proof that you have. You know, give, have. Yep. It's proof that you have. And I think our perception, which is a choice in itself, like, it's not reality, it's perception, right? Like, our perceptions get thrown off because of what we call reality. We think that, you know, if I can engineer a car together, that's real. That's reality. Or my 9 to 5. You know, there's reality, and then there's what we made up. There's reality, and then there's what we made up. There's natural, then there's unnatural. There's truth, then there are illusions. There's love, then there's fear. There's love, then there's ego.
But I actually think that all of the illusion and unnatural is contained within the natural. So it's it's true, but you can't, everything is reality. Like, even the illusion, even the unnatural, like, what isn't nature? Yeah. So, like, it's important to remember that, at least for me, because I don't want to vilify anything.
Yeah. And it's not, and I don't, you know, I don't mean to vilify, but it's like, for me, it's like, this is who and what I am. That's what made me think about this when you said, who is the human being, you know? But this is who and what I am. All this over here is just what I do. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's good.
That's not who I'm a motivational speaker. Okay. Now, if I can take reality and what I do and kind of align those two.
Yeah.
Now the world is really like just this big old playground of things and tools that you use.
Well, I actually think the doing is a byproduct of what I am. Yeah. It's a direct manifestation of what I am. So if I keep working on what I am, growing, nurturing this thing, what I do is naturally going to take a different form.
Absolutely. Totally.
We were talking more about, I guess it's connected to this, what we were talking before about understanding, right? and just the interest in understanding what's happening. Has that always been something that drives you, just trying to understand what's really going on?
Yes. At one point earlier, in my life, it was more, that understanding was more aggressive. Then the last decade, 10 to 15 years, it's just that understanding has become more of a loving, like, curiosity. So that makes the understanding more impactful, more accepting to what's real in there, what's serving me in there, what's not serving me in there, in that understanding, so
how about when you have moments that are challenging for you, right? Maybe you're just not in a great mood, not feeling grateful. What's your relationship to those moments? And what's the process that you notice that happens from kind of coming out of those moments and moving in a different direction?
It depends on the challenge. If it's, if I, like, one morning not too long ago, I had a presentation to give, and I forget where I was driving to, and I get out to do something. I see this big screw just sticking in my wheel. So I'm like, man, I gotta get a new tire on this thing or get this plugged or something, right? So I go and to get it plugged, and there's like 2 or 3 people in front of me. I'm like, how much time, am I going to be late? But it worked out. While they were fixing the tire, I went across the street. The Ravenna Trail in Charlottesville was there, and I jogged. I went jogging, and I came back. I'm giving that example because the things that happen out here, flat tires, accidents and things, I kind of laugh and play with those sometimes. Like, somebody cuts me off in traffic, and I kind of, I go into my comedic mode and I say funny things, especially when I'm by myself. I say a lot of funny, crazy things in the car, and I'm laughing, and then, I forget about it. It's gone, But if I allow those things to irritate me, because the moment you step out, like, if you're looking for it, you'll find it, right? So it's going to irritate you and build up this resistance, and then all of a sudden you're walking around like, I don't like anybody. Humanity's crazy. I don't like them. This, that. But now, in a whole new situation, if me and, say, my wife are having some conflict, that's behavior together, relationship right in my face. And this is something that I'm going to experience every day. So we better get to the nitty gritty and be as authentic as possible and be as vulnerable as possible so we can just happily move on, So it depends on the weight of the conflict or the challenge. I lost an uncle. I heard about, I lost an uncle on the way here. I was sharing with you before we started. And that's one of those inevitables that I can't change, and that I have to sort of a challenge that, it hurts. Ooh, yes. Ooh, what about my aunt? She's still alive. How does she feeling this morning? Oh, my cousins, which are the grandkids and kids and grandkids, so I'm like, how are they doing?
So many thoughts.
Yeah. So, and I think having a healthy balance of paying attention to, your pain, and having that understanding of another person's pain. Not that you have to fully understand it, but you make space for it to be. You just I go hang out with my cousins, I'm going to see them, and I don't know what they're going to feel like. I don't have an expectation of what they're going to feel like. I just know it's a sorrow type of time. Let me just get into space. I care. Let me just get into space and see what happens. See if I can be of support, be supported. I don't know what I'm going to feel when I'm there. I know what I feel now. Like I feel all of that. And just having a healthy balance of that makes challenges a lot more easy or easier to navigate and get through.
Mm. Is there like a healthy confidence in just the positive value of your own being kind of showing up to some environments and having a positive effect, right? Like I'm just thinking about situations, okay, a family's together, mourning, right? You show up there, right? What do you take with you? What do you walk into that with a strategy? I want to do this or that, or can it just simply be me being? Like I'm just going to walk into the situation. I'm just going to be, and I'm going to trust that me just being, and in that kind of confident, relaxed, secure way, is going to do something good for other people in this environment.
Yeah, it's more of a being for me. I just, the presence, and not really, there's enough doing in the world. Do. You come out of the womb and it's just doing. Like, what are you going to be? Who are you going to be? What's your education? What are you going to aspire to be? And do. And people are doing so much. I step into a space with, it's almost like a comfortable unknowing, but about that knowing space. Like it's people bring, you don't know what other people bringing into the space as well. So, just kind of being ready and trusting that, just me being in there and who I am. Like I practice being in tune with reality and those inevitables and love. And not that I fully know exactly what it is, but I know enough. I feel like I can trust it. And it's blessed me so much. It's reinforced and it's told me like, yeah, son. Yeah, Fred, keep going. Keep going. Just keep going, So that's what I come into the space with. And I trust that being there will be enough. And there are times like we're having Thanksgiving tomorrow, of course, dinner. And I was already thinking this like last week. I was like, this is a chance, like I'm going to see all of my aunts, right? Like, my aunts, my uncles, we all helped raise each other, right? Or they helped to raise all of the younger kids through so many lessons and just principles and family, community pillars that they had. And so I was thinking like, I'm going to get a bunch of flowers, and I'm going to get my aunt and maybe every other woman in there, like some flowers, like a flower. I'm going to get like 4 dozens or something. Like, I'll think something like that I can do every once in a while, But the energy of my family, when we show up, it's like a party. It's like we get out of the car dancing. There's no music on. We get out of the car and come into the house. That's just us and what we do. And they've always been on the positive side of things.
And underneath that is gratitude for being with each other, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what's below for everyone? Everyone's been looking forward to this moment. This is what it's all about. This is what we work for. This is, times like this where let's squeeze the juice.
Yeah, let's squeeze it. Let's squeeze it. I remember my mom, I used to go to church with my mom a lot as a kid. And, I had to get involved. I had to usher. I had to sing in the choir, to play drums. I had to welcome guests, and I had to be a part of the service, I couldn't just come like, no, that's not happening, right? And which it made me like, it helped me kind of develop and have this sense of curiosity and freedom and just being. But his name was Reverend Woodson. He's still alive. He lived 2 doors down from me, and me and his son Sam, we were really cool, went to school together, played in the dirt together. But we were at church one day and Reverend Woodson told me, he goes, some other adults were having a conversation and Sunday school had just finished. We were transitioning in the church and somebody had maybe like passed and Reverend Woodson was sitting there with the pew and he was talking and he goes, I remember this part. He goes, you came here with nothing. No, he said, you came here naked with nothing. Mm-hmm. You're going to leave here naked with nothing. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what are you doing with your time? You know, he was like, there's no Mayflower. What was the name of that moving company? Was it Mayflower? He was like, there's no Mayflower truck in here bringing all your stuff. You know, there's no Brinks truck bringing all your accounts with you. And he was like, what are you doing? Mm. And he jumped on the piano. He was a bad boy at the piano. Oh my God. He just jumped on the piano and he started singing and it was about 20 of us that had attended Sunday school. And we started singing and people started coming in for church. And that's how church, that day service started. Really did. Like, you know, it was that cool and that powerful and that really, I remember that. So shout out to Reverend Woodson. He was a cool dude. He still is a very cool guy.
There's that using death to be our teacher, right?
Yeah.
Or using perspective even to be this is a situation. This is a reality. Mm-hmm. Now we can move forward and make the most of this time.
Yeah, and you know you have an opportunity to help yourself understand this and put it in perspective. A 5-year-old passing away, transition, a little bit more tragic, you know. But you know, my dad, I've had him my whole life. Mm. You know, he's still here. You know, if we lose a person in their elderly years, you know, wow, look how long you've had them. Yeah. You know, my best friend, he lost his mom in, fourth grade. Mm. And I met him in the 5th, you know. We've been friends since 5th grade. So, you know, when I hug my dad, like I think about that. Yeah. And, you know, I want to be my authentic self regardless of what they've been through. I feel like they did the best they could for me. That's enough. I'm here. Thank you. Mm. You know, and we learn still now from each other and we continue to grow together. Yeah. You know, even in our differences of age, you know.
I think maybe the hardest part of grieving or after someone passes is perhaps a feeling of a missed opportunity, like regret. Like I didn't really appreciate our time when we were together, right? Like a knowing of like, I was actually immature. When we were together, I was thinking about something else. I was worried about things that aren't really that important. I wasn't appreciating the time. Yeah. That makes it harder.
It really does. I mean,
it's hard no matter what. Yeah. But if I'm really present, you know, and grateful for those times, and we've had many of them, then I think it at least maybe, you know, it can hold on to that. Like, okay, I didn't take it for granted.
Yeah. You have to try. You have to be willing to be authentic in situations and listen to that knowing and do your best to communicate it. Jim Rohn, a guy I listened to and read a couple of his books, he said it's all risky. He said the day you were born, it's all risky. Yeah. You know, he goes, let me get this right. He said, you think it's risky trying. Mm. You know, he said, wait till you get the bill for not trying. Mm. So, So thanks to Jim Rohn for sharing that.
That's pretty good. I'm curious, have you experienced at all, you know, as you show up authentically, kind of in a relaxed being, secure state, that others are threatened by that and can kind of try to attack you from that place of feeling threatened? Has that happened to you?
Yeah, it has. Not lately. It usually comes from the way that I often have experienced it. It's coming from their thoughts. It's coming from their perception, which is, you know, perhaps out of touch with reality. they are feeling that I think that I'm better, or I'm this, or I'm that. Like, I'm not feeling that way. Like, I want to be very inclusive. I would, honestly, I could be quiet the whole time. I'm fine, but maybe our lifestyles and practices of that lifestyle is different. Imagine if, which I do, I wake up, I watch sunrise, I do some things, I meditate, I drink my water, I stretch, I read, I listen to something inspirational. It's an hour, 2 hours before I even pick up my phone or do any type of emailing and stuff, right? I've been doing that for 10 years or so, just going. And this person here wakes up, watches the news, grabs the phone, makes the coffee, gets on the phone, starts arguing, scrolls on social media, and like kind of just getting into the chaos. Yeah. That's my 10 years. That's that person's 10 years. Yeah. When we see each other and meet each other, maybe he's seen me on Facebook and I was in Hawaii or something. I'm part of the chaos. I'm now part of the perception that this person sees, he's in Hawaii. Then he's coming in here wearing his robe. I love to wear my robe, I wear it every morning when I go out and watch the sunrise and stuff. But who is this guy in his robe? Who does he think he is? Oh. So those experiences or those moments, challenges can come from different places. There have been moments where I can see competition like dwelling up in me, that competitive spirit. I was very, very competitive as a kid. I have one sibling, 10 years older than me, my brother, former military he was. I watched him play sports before I really got into it. And as a little brother, your goal is to what? Beat big brother. Mm-hmm. In anything that you can. Sport, drinking Kool-Aid, eating the chicken, whatever. Right? Yeah. So it made me very competitive, and he knew, but he was doing big brother stuff to me. And actually, he taught me so much. He put a competitive spirit in me that enabled me to get a full ride scholarship to play basketball and get a free education, undergrad degree. But along the way, I had to manage that. I had to manage that competitive spirit and use the competition to just get better. Yeah. That's it. That's the only goal. Of course, it's a game. We keep the scores. Somebody won, somebody lost. But really, nobody lost anything. Yeah. Everybody gained. Yeah. So there, every once in a while, I get that little competitive spirit in me. Like if I'm buried in grants and it's been 90 days of doing these 2 grants I'm trying to get, working with the grant coordinator of the foundation. And, we put it in, we submit it, and we don't get it. But the organization that's 2 years into the game in the nonprofit world, they get it. And this other company got it. This other nonprofit got it. I'm like, we've been doing this for 9 years. Why didn't we get that? That could have gave us da-da-da-da. But at the same time, I have to fall. That's my competitive self coming out. And I have to fall back and look at that. And we're all doing good work. Yeah. If you have it, you're doing good work. I have it. I'm doing good work. We're serving humanity. It's fine. Yeah.
It's that, I think it's the no ego part of it. Mm-hmm. That insecurity. I find it's the most, it's like these situations, right, where you talked about like, what has my last 10 years been and what's this other, to me, it obviously someone in that place where maybe they don't have this healthy relationship with competition, of realizing that we're all in it together. For them, we're not in it together. We are opponents. Yeah. So to have genuine compassion for that person and where they're at and not losing that love is, to me, that's the most challenging, and that person is lashing out at me. They're attacking my ego, I think, to draw me into where they're at, and to say, oh, see, like, you're not really where you think you are. I just, I got you. I pulled you into my game. But that's beautiful, because those are challenging moments. But I think they really are. If someone tries to attack our being and say, "Oh, you're not that great," attack the ego. So I think that's is that what's behind kind of this message of no ego, to really kind of look at that and see where the ego's at. Yeah,
absolutely. I think through practicing, it's important that you, as humans, that we stay in tune as much as we can with the reality side of things, like with the truth. It keeps a goal. It keeps it consistently active and present within you. So in seeing what's real and what's not, and doing your best to live from the space that's going to serve yourself and other humans the best, right? And in that space, or in those, you're able to differentiate and see that you're able to see the fear, you're able to see the overly self-centeredness, you're able to see, it gives me a sense of, I don't have anything to fear. So when I show up, if it's not immediate, life-threatening danger. If a bear jumped through that window right now and came running towards the stage, I don't have to say anything to you. Let's go. We're out of here, right? Yeah. Or we get big and we that's life-threatening. That's immediate life-threatening danger. Another person verbally kind of attacking me and saying some things about me.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm not that scared of
Perspective.
that. I'm not that scared of that. Like, half of my family's comedians, and we cracked on each other all the time. I lived in Hollywood and performed in bars and got told no a lot of times. You gotta, it has to, if it's not life-threatening, like I have to really, truly protect myself from this attack, what are we scared of?
So again, that's moving into the fear.
Yeah.
Okay, this is here, and I'm going to look at it and see, oh, actually, it's not really something to be afraid of right now.
And you can embrace it too. You can take another step and try to communicate. You can try to listen. You can try to, I like to ask people, like in intense situations, like, I hear what you're saying. Like, you want to sit down and talk some more about it. Like, I love to hear what you got to say. Like, but let's communicate for real. Like, let's get a cup of tea. Let's sit down and talk about it. And tell me. But I'd rather have that form of communication than you just kind of going off on me, or I'm going off on you, or whatever. But like, there have been times where I've offered to, like, I hear you and I want to hear you more. Like, please, like, let's talk about it. I want to hear what you got to say. But I don't want to hear it this way. No. Like, come on.
Go directly at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people take you up on the invitation. Some people don't. Some people take you up on it later and they realize, ooh, that was an opportunity. Some people are not ready. We're not always ready. I remember, I'm thinking about this. Me and my wife, we were out. Sometimes we revisit places that we have memories of, or you remember that time we went downtown to that little hole in the wall bar and like we got those like celery sticks, and they were like the best celery sticks and Brussels sprouts with that glaze on it that time. You remember that? She was like, yeah, I was like, we should go back there. So we'll go back there, see if they got the celery sticks and the Brussels with the glaze, But anyway, we do things like that. And we were back at this place. And we were sitting at the bar, and she was like, I ordered something. I ordered a drink. I was like, I'm going to use the restroom. And I went to the restroom. I came back, and she was looking at me. She was like, and it was a guy next to her. when I got up and I left, he asked her, he said, like, you like being with that black man? You know, like, why did you marry that black man? Or why are you with that black man? I don't think he knew, like, we were married, you know. And I came back and she was like, this guy was like, you know, blah, 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 blah. I was like, for real? She was like, yeah. And he saw us, because he was right here, and he looked at me and he felt compelled to like, hey, how you doing? To speak, you know? And I was like, hey, how you doing? I shook his hand. And I said, you want a drink? You know? And he was like, no, I'm okay. He was like, you'll buy me a drink? I was like, yeah, if you want one, we're all sitting here, you know? I said, the tab is open, you know? And we just kind of sat there and we talked a little bit here and there. He was sitting there, wife was here, I was on this end. And throughout the, you know, time we were there, he would turn, talk to us, say something, you know, talk. I would turn, say something. You know, we're all kind of just hanging, but not really together, but kind of together. And I just wanted to see, like, maybe he would have said something, like, openly, like, engaged in what he felt. And at that time, I didn't feel like, I don't know, it's kind of loud in here. It's not, I can't be intimate enough. I don't know, but I just kind of sat in that space.
But you know, that's a perfect example, I think, of what we're talking about. It's like, man, it could have been very easy, I imagine, to really feel agitated, challenged. Someone saying something like that, I mean, you know, but you took a different route. Yeah. You know, even though you didn't talk about it directly, it's your response to that, your inclusivity. You know, maybe that told him what he needed to hear without actually having to say it.
Maybe, yeah. And because he knew that I knew what he said.
Yeah.
So, you know, love will do what it does. You just have to...
Love will do what it does.
You make the space for it. It'll transcend and do what it does with everybody, all parties involved. You know, I went to a school, a college, last week and gave a presentation that I'm now alumni of, you know. In 1997, I was a freshman at this school, and I was there maybe a week, and me and two teammates, we walked down to the store. It's now Sheets, it was something like a Fast Mart or something. And I said I didn't want anything, so I'm going to stay outside. I'll wait for you guys, you know. And they go in, this truck pulls up. I'm kind of standing by this parking lot bumper pole. You know how they have the poles like in kind of front of the store, so cars pull up, you don't crash into the store, I guess, whatever their reason for being there. But I had like my arm on it like this, and truck pulls up, boom, and hits the pole, boom. You know, and I look, two gentlemen in there, two white gentlemen, and they get out, and it's like they said some rude things, like, what are you doing here? And N-word this, N-word that, and so, you know, and he said, you know where you are or something. And I don't know, like, I was nervous, I was scared, but at the same time, like, I had this little curiosity, courage about me. You know, I've always had this, my mom said, you know, and I responded, I said, well, it sounds like your problem, not mine. That's what I said, right? I was a little more smart, a little more like, not smart, intelligent smart, but like just smart.
Yeah.
Were my behaviors then, you know. I could come back quick, you know, it was witty, you know, even if it wasn't good for me. And I said, well, that sounds like your problem. Like, that's in you, that's not in me. And so they walk in, you know, and my friends, they come out. And I was kind of hesitant to tell them because one of them, his attitude was way hotter than mine. You know, so I didn't want to cause, you know, some ruckus. You know, I'm there. I'm going to school. I'm on scholarship, playing ball. And so I tell them on the way back. Long story short, I'm at that school less than 2 weeks ago. giving a presentation to the student body. Guess what story I opened up with? And they had come full circle, and they could see me in front of them, telling this story, sharing this message, love, no ego. Like, it was beautiful from the start.
Man.
And they paid me for being here. Another perk, another bonus. So having that foundation within and having a practice to get you in that space consistently improves your responses to challenges.
Yeah, the relationships to the challenges themselves, to really feel like when they come up, because often they come up too in like moments when you're not expecting them at all, and boom, it's right here, this situation. So I think that there's like a preparation that can happen, like a training that can happen for those moments. And maybe that's really rooted in the belief that those moments are for our good. That is life teaching me. Because my like initial response when those types of things happen is resistance. Like I'm bummed that it's happening. Why is this happening to me? It didn't have to happen.
Yeah. So
the shift of that to really believe that the challenges are opportunities.
You take a deep breath and you say, okay, here we go.
Yeah. But your example is perfect because like you use that, you're still talking about it now.
Yeah.
So clearly it was something that you could harness for something good. You could transform. Last thing I wanted to ask you about was, in terms of mentoring and this relationship between adult and youth child, like what is your attitude about how to do this successfully, how to be a successful mentor? Yeah.
All of the things that we are talking about and having that understanding of life, reality, truth, love, universe, sun, moon, stars, everything that's natural, organic, having an understanding of that and what's contrasting to that. All of those things are great understandings and qualities, if you want to call them, to have, helping ourselves as well as them to establish a foundation within that's not easily shaken by the egotistical world. Because 9 years ago when I founded it out, I had this message, like I kind of saw that, the world is not going to stop anytime soon. There's going to be a lot of commercials. There's going to be a lot of advertisement. There's going to be a lot of propaganda, a lot of potential programming, a lot of stuff coming at you that's telling you, it's like, you need this to have this. You need this to be successful. You need this to fit in. You need this to be cool. Like, it's almost always pulling you on a journey away from yourself, right? Like, think about it. It's always you need this. Come over here.
Yeah.
You're going to be happy this way. Yeah. Constantly, nonstop. When I was young, TV used to go off. It don't go off no more. Like, it's, it's just, it's magnet, it's just all the time. So I saw that and I'm like, this is not good. We need something to reignite this space and consistently try to keep it turned on and engage to reality and truth and what you are. And in that process of seeing that and developing it, it's like, who you are, what you do. Am I living in illusions over here? Like it's so like beautiful to that process. I mean, it's so beautiful. You have all of these. You have this wave of life information that you gain through just the now, being here, present through however long you are here. And it's like, I'm getting excited. I'm all over the place. I'm thinking of you come into this world, the day on your birthday, your actual birthday, like you've been in this womb for 9-10 months, and it's dark, it's quiet for the most part. You hear, start developing your senses, you kick, you have a heartbeat. Before this, like heartbeat and brain still growing, doing this thing, and you're not afraid of the darkness. You don't question it. You just make it work. And you come out on your birthday and you just spent 9-10 months in this dark place, and one of the worst lights ever is in your face, the fluorescent lights. You're wondering what's going on. It's noise, it's machines, beep, 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 chaos, people. And, you start moving from your hospital to your car to your house to your room to your crib. That's so. And next thing you know, you're in this school, you're in this building, you're in this building, you're in this building. Next thing you know, you're in a cubicle, and you're just unfulfilled, and you say, you know what, I need a vacation. So you get passports, and you come back to Yogaville, and you meditate and you pray. Like you're trying to get back. And the world is just like, just pulling you on this journey away from that, like away from yourself. So I feel like we have the best gift ever, like life. And a beautiful, like part of that life is intuition. Like you have that, like, ooh, that's beautiful. So with our mentors, we want to embody all of that. We want to lay this foundation for success that we call it. And we take them through these exercises of what's real, what's not real. And we do it all out in nature too, which helps hone in on that message. And after we get this foundation in, we start to attach our being, this energy of being now. Your being, you're focus more on being. You take this energy of being, and then we're going to go do. What are you interested in? What do you like? Engineering? Let's go find out. Let's hook up with some local engineers and see what we can do. Use our community resources. So now they are really aligning who and what they are in this love space of what they actually do. And that makes for enjoyable days. That makes for less time for a whole bunch of foolishness and resistance. And man, you know what I have going on over here? Yeah. Like this, I don't, right. That doesn't make sense.
That's it.
So having them have that foundation that's not easily shaken, and things happen, but, we're there to help them navigate through it, and show up as their best love, no ego self. Yeah. And now, I've been 4 years now traveling a lot and speaking and sharing the message, even in the corporate world, like, educational conferences, different industries. That heart-led engagement and leadership in any environment is necessary. And it inspires people because it touches their soul. It touches the intuition. Yeah.
They're looking for it and they don't even know they're looking for it.
Yeah. They look buried in spreadsheets and depending on the opportunity, the speaking opportunity, sometimes I say, let me, share your strategic plan with me, what you have, your goals for the company, this, that. I want to see them, before I come in. And so I can come in, yes, with my message, but also inspire you and show you actual steps to help fulfill that plan that you have, So it's if there are humans, which are everywhere, right? It's a beautiful thing. And no, I don't think that the world will ever be able to replace us. They can steal our awareness. They can steal the awareness away, right? They can steal our awareness away of that space that we have, but they can't steal the space. But they can steal our awareness of it, which makes us behave in whichever way. So, it's such a beautiful gift. It's such a wonderful, life is such a wonderful thing.
That's the foundation right there, is to see that, to believe that. that this experience is sacred, that this experience that we're having, I mean, that's like the fundamental shift between survival, just getting through. Yeah, it is hard. There's challenges. But man, is this amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and to be in awe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great book too. But like to reiterate, like you have life and then there's what we made of it. There's life and there's what we make of it. There's life, what we do with it. There's life. You know, if you look at what you are doing with it, and there's some pieces that you don't like, you don't have the courage to change that, to get rid of that, to walk away from that. Like love, always, all the roads of love lead to happiness. Like how can it not? It's love. It's going to take you to happiness. But there are some tough decisions along the way.
Also, love, I think, will take you to the truth, and truth will also take you to love.
Yeah. And the tagline and phrase for the mentoring program, for the whole program, is called The Courage to Be You. Love no ego with the courage to be you. And that you, it's like if I ask you to say, like I say, Harvey, repeat after me, but don't say it out loud. Repeat after me, but don't say it out loud. I love you. I love me. Life is cool. I like it here at Yogaville. Now, you didn't speak it, but you still heard it. You still said it. You still felt it. And you did nothing but internalize it all. That you. That's the courage. That you. The courage to be you. You speak from those spaces. It's underneath all the noise. And you move. You make decisions the best that you can. Just simply the best that you can from there.
See, I believe too that this gratitude, appreciation for this experience actually cultivates courage.
Yeah.
Right? Courage is what's necessary to make these changes. But if I'm grateful for all the experiences that I've had, for my life itself, right? If I'm living in that gratitude, it's much easier to be courageous.
Yeah, because it makes so much sense for you. Yeah. It's like, no, I'm not wasting a second over there. As much as I can be aware of, I'm going over here. Yeah. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm honoring the time. I'm honoring time. Each moment, each day is something special. I don't waste it doing things that I'm not really, aren't serving me or anyone else.
Yeah. So it definitely makes it easier.
Freddy, if people are interested in finding out more, maybe if they have an organization that would be supported by Love No Ego, if they have children that might be supported by it, what's the best way for them to find out more?
Yeah, I say visit the website, lovenoego.org. See who we are, what we do, see our mission, reiterate that, and just reach out. It's easy to access us via the website. Send an email, you can call, it's all there. We're all across social media. If you Google Love No Ego Foundation, we're sure to pop up. But we have quite a few great team members, board members. Any message that comes in, at least 2 to 3 eyes are seeing it, so you won't be overlooked. We also have MrLoveNoEgo.org now. So I've been doing this for 9 years and been going into a lot of schools. They contract us in for 8 weeks to run them through our whole curriculum and get them on this message. And after starting these workshops in schools, you return on week 2, week 3, or whatever. The kids, this is how it happened for me. The kids were saying, Mr. Love No Ego's back. That Mr. Love No Ego dude is back. Mr. Love No Ego, Mr. Love No Ego. They started calling me that, Mr. Love No Ego. And it just got a good ring to it. And I was like, can I use that? Like, without having an ego, can I use that? So, and then the corporate world was calling so much, So I created a lane for it, and it's mrlovenoego.org. It's called Mr. Love No Ego and the BYP, Build Your Power Team. So we have like 4 speakers, and we go in strictly the corporate world and speak and conduct workshops for the corporate folks. But yes, contact us, reach out. We love partnering. We love extending love and just maximizing opportunities, and just honestly, I always say this, allowing love to just do what it does for us, allowing it to extend us and enjoy these days, these moments, this time, and be human.
Freddie, I'm so grateful, really, that our paths have crossed.
Yeah.
And thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being you.
Yeah.
That's the best thing
Thank you for approaching me that day at a Nurture with Nature event in Scottsville. So it's been lovely since we've been talking.
Yeah.
Very much. So thank you.
Onward together.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed this content and think others might as well, please feel free to share and subscribe.